Hello guys. So today the reason why I'm late, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. The reason why I'm late is because I was doing my hair. I had found this wig and I was like, oh shoot, it's like 2 years old. And I was like, I wonder if I could finesse it. And I think I did. So, but today we're going to be talking about embracing your shadow side and making peace with it. So I'm going to wait for at least a few people to tap in, or maybe even just a few more minutes before I get started. But I just wanted to give you guys a little reason why I wasn't ready for the live when I said I was. So I do apologize. So sorry. And I do have a little treat for you guys after, just so that we can also, I'll I got a little treat for you because I was late. So don't worry about it. All right. So I'm just going to wait a few more minutes. It's 4 o'clock now. So I'm going to get into the live in a few more minutes. If you do want to see more content, I do have more. I post wow, I cannot speak. Okay, I post the lives on YouTube and I post them on also Facebook. I post them on Instagram, but the full videos will be on Instagram after the fact. So if you guys are ever interested in finding the content that I'm doing when I'm going live and stuff, go ahead and look at my YouTube. I'll make sure that I post that stuff in there, and I can make sure I link it in the comments or something for you guys at another time. But my YouTube is Kasthebestie, as you know, when you see me, Kasthebestie. So thank you guys for joining me today. Today we're going to be talking about the benefits of making peace with your shadow. So let's just get right into it. So the benefits of making peace with your shadow. I would say the first part where we would have to start would be emotional freedom. So, emotional freedom. You stop wasting your energy hiding from or suppressing parts of yourself, which can bring you deep emotional relief and inner calm. So, sometimes we hold things in because we feel like we're not allowed to share our feelings, or we need to keep it in so that we don't lose any of our pride. Like, we got to put our pride to the side so that we can actually feel that calm within ourselves. Let people know exactly how you feel. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm sad about this, or hey, that hurt my feelings. You have to be emotionally free. So once you make peace with your shadow, you will be able to feel emotional freedom. You'll never be feeling that weight on your chest of having a big burden on your back or something on your shoulders or something. Because I know when I'm feeling burdened, I feel like I need a deep breath. So next step would be self-acceptance and wholeness. So embracing your shadow helps you love yourself unconditionally and with flaws and all, leading to your true self-acceptance. So when I say that means that sometimes, because we are not comfortable, we don't feel safe with showing people who we are. Like when we're in the house, when we're by ourselves, just chilling and doing nothing, we don't feel comfortable enough to tell people or show people exactly how we feel. Can you run, please? Excuse me, I thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, baby. Thank you. I'll take it. All right, play toys. All right, sorry about that. So self-acceptance and wholeness. Embracing your shadow side helps you love yourself unconditionally and flaws and all, leading to true self-acceptance. So with that being said, that means that the things that you hold within yourself when nobody's looking, you'll be able to freely express that. You'll be able to be your most authentic version of yourself. A lot of people they say like people like Sexy Red. Let's say that for an example. She's somebody that people consider to be ratchet or something. But she's her most authentic version of herself. Who else could she be? That she's being herself. And that's why a lot of people like her, because she's just her. She doesn't try to be anybody but herself. And that's why you should be yourself, because you're an amazing person too. You're probably a really funny person, but we keep those things to ourselves because we don't want people to know who we truly are, what our real hobbies are. A lot of times people didn't even know that I really worship God like this. I love God, but people don't realize that because I keep these things to myself. I don't let other people know these things. But now I'm feeling more comfortable to share these things with you so that you guys can also feel that way when you guys are out there in your own lives. So the next thing that would benefit you making peace with your shadow would be deepening your relationships. So when you own your own full self, you become more authentic in relationships and attract deeper and more honest connections. So if you are not comfortable with your full authentic self, you kind of tend to put on a mask, put on an identity so that the people around you will feel more accepting of who you are. So you kind of mold yourself to make yourself comfortable so you don't feel like you're out of place. But when you just be your authentic self, like the people that you grow up with, you tend to be put with them just because you're a product of your environment. But once you realize who you truly are, then you'll be able to be like, oh wow, I actually like these type of people too. I like to do these type of things too. I like to go to these type of places as well. So you don't subject yourself to being in only one area. You actually be able to meet new people who actually like the things that you like, and then you'll be able to meet people who are interested in monetizing things that you like to monetize. Like for example, say if you're into music, if you're authentically putting out that you're into music, then you're going to attract people who are into music. If you are putting out things that are like more like toxic, people are just going to think you're just a toxic person. You're not really serious about your life. But if you get more serious with your life, then you won't have to worry about that. You'll attract exactly what you're looking for. So, and then in regards to that too, if you hide who you truly are, it's like you're not lying indirectly, but you're just lying by omission, because you're not lying because you're trying to hurt somebody. You're just lying because you're trying to keep yourself safe. So even if you're not doing it intentionally, you're still lying in a form because you're not being your true self. You're not showing people who you really are. All right, another thing that benefits you from making peace with your shadow is less internal conflict. When you work on your shadow, you stop battling yourself internally and you reduce anxiety and self-sabotage. So sometimes it's very hard and difficult for us to actually find people in our lives that we want to keep. And it's hard for us to find the blessing or the lesson in other people. So we kind of tend to self-sabotage situations. Like some things will feel too good to be true. So we don't want to accept that it is true. And then we end up pushing people away who actually care about us. So when you address your shadow side and address why you are actually pushing people away, then you'll be able to attract more people and keep people in your life who actually love you and care about you. And they want to be there for you so that you can have a more happy life. The more people in your life that are there to help you and help keep you balanced, those are the people you need in your life. You don't want anybody in your life that's going to be upset if you're not talking to them. Oh, excuse me. You don't want anybody in your life that's going to be upset if you don't talk to them every 5 seconds. Like, you don't want to be having people in your life that are going to just be upset because you're not doing what they want you to do. You have your own life. You have to have people in your life that are okay with you having your own life. All right. So another thing that will help you with your shadow side would be personal empowerment. So what once felt like a weakness can become a source of strength and creativity and wisdom when integrated consciously. So that means that something that you feel that you keep from other people that is keeping you, feeling like, oh, I can't do that because I don't have that skill, that is stopping you. But once you actually step into that, you realize that that weakness is actually a strength. For example, ever since I've grown up, I've always been a very empathetic person. I've always been very loving. I've always been very, very forgiving as a person. But as I grew older, I always was like, why do I have such a big heart? Why am I so forgiving? Why do I keep letting people in my life who don't really care about me, who don't really want to see me do good for myself? Why do I keep doing that? And it was because I felt like my love was a weakness. Once I realized that my love was actually a strength, when you realize what your strengths are, you start to value yourself at a high level, because then nobody can bring you down to where they are in order for themselves to feel like they're comfortable. So you'll stay in your personal power regardless of how anybody else feels. Another thing that you can gain from making peace with your shadow would be emotional intelligence. So understanding your shadow makes you more compassionate, less reactive, and better equipped to deal with others' emotions. So sometimes, we get triggered when we're around people who are unhealed, and a lot of us are unhealed. So it's difficult for us to discern who we should be around and who we shouldn't be around. But once you heal yourself, you'll be able to gain that emotional intelligence to decipher, when should I say something? When is it worth it for me to indulge in this? When should I actually react? When should I say something to defend myself? So that you don't have to worry about being in an emotional roller coaster just because of how other people are trying to make you feel. So that's another thing. So emotional intelligence. The next thing you would say that would be a benefit would be stronger boundaries. So by acknowledging your triggers and vulnerabilities, you set clear boundaries and protect your energy more effectively. So setting boundaries is very, very important, because once you know what your triggers are, you figure out why they're your triggers. And then you can figure out why you're being triggered by it and who is triggering you with that same trigger. So you following me? So when you get triggered, you want to make sure you're figuring out why and who is triggering you. What is the reason that they are triggering you? Because sometimes it's not the other person doing something to you. Sometimes it's actually how you feel within yourself, that's something stemming from your childhood or something. It doesn't have to always be somebody doing something to you. However, when you do that introspection, you go within yourself. You don't need to really talk to other people. You could go within yourself and you ask yourself, hey, what is the reason why I feel this way? And then you say, okay, it stems back to this. All right. And then this person is making me feel triggered because of this. What is it that I have to heal about that? And that is you working on your shadow side. Then once you embrace that, you'll be able to determine, should I keep this person in my life? Are they willing to not cross my boundaries anymore? Because once you figure out that that's your trigger, you go back to the person, or you go back to the place that you were at, and if it comes again, you don't have to go looking for trouble. But if your boundary gets crossed, you let people know, hey, I don't appreciate that. And if you're going to be in my life, then this is how we're going to move going forward. If that's not okay with you, that's fine with me. I don't control you. This is your life to live. And we could just continue moving on about our business and live separately. So that's how you assert strong boundaries. And you need to assert strong batteries. Wow. You need to assert strong boundaries, because people will try to walk over you. Power is taken. So if somebody feels like they can take power from you, they will. Even if you're not in that mindset to feel like, wow, why would I be wanting to give People are looking for power everywhere. When people don't have control over their own lives, they feel like they have to control other people. All right, so the next thing that would help you embrace your shadow side would be a positive of it would be greater creativity. So your shadow actually holds untapped creative potential and wild inspiration that can be channeled into art, writing, and expression. So a lot of the times we kind of feel like, wow, I don't feel like I'm creative right now. I feel like I got writer's block. I feel like I can't create right now. I feel like I'm just stuck in a 3D mindset, in this worldly mindset. But because we haven't addressed our shadow, we don't want to talk about the things that would actually make us feel our most creative selves. If we take our time to step into our shadow, you could find the beauty in the pain that you went through. When I was younger, I felt like I went through a lot of emotional pain just because I've always felt alone. I didn't have close siblings with me. Most of my siblings, we just didn't click like that. So I was always either by myself or hanging out with friends, but I never felt like I had somebody who actually would listen to me and cared about what I said. So with that being said, it caused me to not feel like I could tap into that side of me, because I didn't feel like people wanted to listen to me. I didn't feel like people cared about what I had to say. So feeling like people didn't care what I had to say, I didn't say anything. And it took me a long time for me to feel like I could actually go out and speak my mind and tell people how I feel and actually say, hey, I'm not okay with this, or I am okay with this. So that's something that actually I formed from working on my shadow side. And your shadow side is not something that you should be ashamed of. Your shadow is actually where you came from. You started in your shadow so that you can go into the light. And once you get into the light, you'll be able to go into your shadow and go into your light if you would like to. You'll be able to balance. You have to have balance. You can't just be all of one, because that's when, if you're in your light too much, people try to take advantage. And if you're dark too much, you end up on a bad path. So you have to have a good balance between your light and your dark energy. All right, so your next thing would be spiritual growth. So doing shadow work is often the gateway to a higher consciousness. It's where real healing and transformation begin. So once I started doing my shadow work, I really started getting more into spirituality because I needed to understand why I always felt connected to, the universe and the stars and things like that. And I realized it was like because that's where I came from. My ancestry, I'm an African American. All my life I felt like I didn't really have an identity because, we came from slavery, and my family, we don't really have too many like stories that get passed down, those songs that people talk about. So it's kind of difficult for me to be like, oh yeah, that's what my history is, that's what I came from. But after doing further research, I did find out that people back in slavery actually did use spirituality. They were given a Bible, they were given religion to tell them, hey, this is how we want you to act. You got to respect God, you got to respect us because we're the boss. So during slavery, they tried to make the Bible something that people use so that they can be in control. So they tried to control people with it. But the people who were slaves, they actually used their spirituality to use the Bible as incantation so that they can actually free themselves. They freed themselves with the Bible and the use of their spirituality. So that's something that I did find out. And that actually is something that helped me unlock a side of myself that I didn't understand, because I didn't realize that I was that deeply rooted, and that was the reason why it felt so deep to me. So another thing would be freedom of projection. So if you don't know what projection is like, for example, if you are feeling some type of way about somebody because of something that happened, you're like jealous or something. So you might tell a person, well, you're just acting like that because you're jealous. But you don't necessarily know if they're jealous. That's just how you feel based on things that have happened to you in your past. And vice versa. People do that to other people all the time. Like, I've been projected on a lot of times. People will come to me and be like, well, oh, you're feeling this type of way about this, and you're feeling this type of way about that. Well, I ignore what people are saying. If they feel some type of way about anything, I'm not really worried about projections. All you know is that what you feel is right. And once you are not stuck in your shadow or not afraid of your shadow, people cannot project onto you because they cannot get you out of your body. The main reason why people project on you is because they're ashamed, like they have feelings within themselves that they feel bad about. So they want to get you feeling bad about yourself so that they feel less bad about themselves. So you will stop blaming others for traits you haven't owned in yourself, and then also leading to more responsibility and maturity. So you want to grow up, you want to be able to be a person who doesn't get easily affected by other people. You don't want to have to feel like every time you go outside, if it's a battle, it's a fight. You want to feel like you're free, you feel happy, you feel at peace, you feel calm. All right, so another thing that another thing that happens when you embrace your shadow side would be alignment with purpose. So your shadow often hides clues to your life purpose, and healing it helps you go into alignment with your soul's calling. So I can say from my experience, my shadow side was very, very hectic. I can say back in a few years ago, I was very toxic. I was always ready to fight. I was always ready to cuss somebody. I was always ready to say something to somebody if somebody has something to say to me. And if people wanted to take it there, I was ready to take it there. But your shadow side often hides that hides what you really want to do, because you're doing the opposite of what you want to do because you're hiding from your shadow side. Your shadow is there to protect you in the times of darkness, but you can also use your light side. So once you heal your shadow side, you'll be able to look and see, hey, what is actually my calling and what is actually my purpose? I did do a video earlier. You can go onto my page if you want to. Slide to the left. Slide to the left. Slide to the slide to that side so that you can go and see my profile. And I did do a video earlier, and it tells you exactly how to find your purpose. And I gave also some video also just so that you can get another perspective of how you can find your own purpose. And sometimes it feels like, that's a little far-fetched for us to be our purpose, but sometimes we're so deep in our shadow, it seems impossible to think that this is something we could do. And when I was younger, I didn't think that I would be somebody who would be public speaking and who would be showing people telling people about the things that I've been through, and even speaking this much on a platform. I never thought that it would be this for me. But I always knew that I was meant to be in the spotlight. I always knew that I was meant to be out shining, because I always felt like a star from within, always. So that's why I know that I felt like a star, but I also felt like I loved helping people. I love making people happy. I love seeing people smile. I love to have a good conversation with somebody so that they can have a great day. That is how I figured out what my purpose was, because I knew that what I have within me needs to be shared with other people, because people love me and I love people. So I might as well express that to other people so that they can feel that too. All right. And if you come into here, can you guys put some likes? Give me some likes and follow me too. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube, subscribe, like, share, comment, all of the above. I'm Kasthebestie on all platforms except for Facebook. Facebook, I'm Charisma. It's spelled Karizma. And hold on for me 1 second. Not yet, baby. Almost. Okay, wait a second. All right. So we're on to our last point right before we get to our little goodie. So peace and inner stillness. So when you're no longer at war with yourself, you experience an inner stillness that allows for joy and presence of clarity. So when you're able to think clear-minded, when you're not worried so much about worrying, when you're not scared of being scared, when you're not having feelings of being ashamed for no reason, you will be able to just be. You'll be able to just be in the moment. You'll be able to just live life and be happy and just do what you do. You won't have to worry about if anybody else is doing anything for you, or if anybody else is going to the club, or if anybody else is going to go somewhere with you, go on vacation, take a trip. You're not going to be worried about that as long as you focus on your shadow side. And I will be putting out more information so that I can help you guys with addressing your shadow side, because I know how difficult it is. And I'm also at this time offering my consultations. So if you guys are interested in speaking with me and having like a spiritual conversation in regards to your shadow side or anything that you're going on in your life, I am here to help you guys live your best lives, to live your happiest lives. And I want to make sure that you guys know that I am here for you. If you guys are interested in coming and checking out any more of my content, I do have more content there on YouTube. And lastly, I do have just a little oracle reading for you guys, because I would love to get a check on the energy, because sometimes we just need a little bit of excitement, a little bit of happiness, so that we can raise our vibrations, bring ourselves back. So I'm going to do a little energy reading. So give me 1 second while I shuffle the cards. I got this deck not too long ago, but it was a gift, so I can't really tell you what the name of the oracle deck is. However, I can tell you that we're going to get down to the bottom of it. All right, let's see.
More orange.
All right, Soraya. Give me 1 second, okay? Thank you. All right, so we have rehabilitation and the 1090 ratio. So with rehabilitation, what I'm getting from that is if you look at the picture too, it's really showing you exactly what we're looking at. We're healing from our shadow. We're healing from what we're going through. We're shining from within. We're going within, and we're healing ourselves so that we can find that peace in the darkness. Sometimes when we're in the dark, it feels so lonely, but that's where we find ourselves, in the darkness. The darkness is where you can find your best version of yourself, because people are trying to ignore what's really inside of them. Once you let out what's really inside of you, you will feel so free. You will feel at peace. You don't have to worry about how anybody thinks of you. So right now we're finding our light within the darkness. And then we have 1090 ratio. And actually this card, I had to look it up because I was like very confused. It was giving me bougie vibes, but it's really about how 10% of the world owns most of the wealth and 90% doesn't. So that's pretty much what it is. It's that I feel like with this is that when people, when you really, sorry, hold on 1 second. All right, so when people are trying to get through their shadow, they kind of tend to more be focused on the lavish side of things. You get focused on more of what you want out of the world versus what you want for yourself. So when I think of the 1090 ratio is, I'm no longer going to be giving 10% of my focus to myself. I'm going to be giving 90% of my focus to myself and 10% to everybody else. Because now it's time for you to focus on you so that you can actually live happy and be the best version of yourself. You don't want anybody else to keep holding you back. And sometimes we're just a part of our environments, and we outgrow our environments. Sometimes we're really bigger than the program, and we keep ourselves smaller because we feel comfortable, but we have bigger purposes than that. So once you heal and you embrace your shadow side, you'll be able to move forward, and you'll be able to continue to elevate and grow and to be your best version of yourself. And then trust your intuition, because your intuition is just your higher self talking to you. And if you don't trust your higher self, it's because you're not comfortable yet. So thank you guys for tuning in with me today. I appreciate it. I'm going to take the recap, and I'm going to also put it on YouTube. So if you guys are interested in consultations, please feel free to send me a DM. I'm open to hear you guys' stories and help you in any way that I can. I do use my spiritual powers to help people. I am a healer. I am a chosen one, and I am here so that we can raise the vibrations here on earth. So thank you so much for everybody joining in with me, and I hope that you guys have a beautiful day. You guys stay blessed, and don't let anybody tear you down, and don't let anybody make you feel like the things that you've been through are stopping you from getting to the best part of you. You use the worst parts in your best selves together. You use it together so that you can elevate, because you cannot elevate unless you're whole. Thank you. Have a great day.